This podcast is brought to you by JList.com. Did you know that JList is your home for all your anime shopping needs? Everything from Japanese snacks and foods, anime figures and DVDs, import PC and console Japanese games, plushies of your favorite characters, t-shirts, and so much more. Head over to JList.com or the non-adult mirror site JBox.com for all of your anime shopping needs. And now it's time to start the podcast.
You're listening to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Take your anime addiction to the next level at AAAPodcast.com/join. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Welcome, everybody, all you lovely, beautiful, gorgeous people out there. Welcome to our 477th episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast, where we are just trying to make your anime addiction a little bit worse.
So much worse!
So much worser.
So much worse!
I am Mandy, one of the hosts among three currently for this podcast. And my other two lovely friends. We have Mitsuki, who you just recently moved. And
That's right.
You're starting a new job. How are you?
Doing it right. This may be my last podcast I ever do. Because
Why?
I'm climbing Mount Bierstadt this weekend.
Oh.
And I'm going to do the Sawtooth, brother. And then I'm going to come down Mount Evans, so I might die on the Sawtooth. We'll see. It's a class 3 trail, and it basically is a slope that is on top of a cliff. So we'll see. I could die. You never know.
I hope not. Be careful.
And that's at 14,300 feet. So I might not be breathing.
Oh, please come back to us. We also
we need
joined by we need you.
No, you don't.
We are also joined by a lovely guest, the lovely, very lovely Mason.
Oh, I love this triple
What's
lovely
up?
Intro. I'm so glad to be back. I'm definitely not climbing any 14-footers in the upcoming future, so I hope to be around for a while. But yeah, doing well.
We established on the Hobby Addicts that Mason is indeed lovely.
He is
Yes.
very lovely. But he had to progress up to lovely. He was not lovely, then Mason.
I'm back.
It's a tough sort of journey, but with enough dedication, perseverance, and heart, you too could become lovely. You just have to level up to it.
I've got my sights on achieving now becoming the most dangerous and then the most
Oh.
loveliest.
The most loveliest. We also, Enzo had to be off today. He had family stuff to take care of. So don't worry, he's fine. He will be back.
He's hanging out with Nana.
He is hanging out with his Nana. So we have Mason filling in. And we're excited because
We are excited.
Mason is excited to be here with us, aren't you?
Yes, indeed.
Mason and his hot takes.
Hot
It is
takes.
hot
Well,
takes.
I don't know how hot my takes can be in the inferno that we will all be partaking in today.
We're gonna if this continues, we're gonna have to get a drop for our Mason and his hot takes.
Oh, yeah.
So every time Mason's like talking shit or something, we'll just play the hot takes button.
Well, we need some kind of berserk take, too, because Mason also is part of my manga club. He is very regular. And we grade everything out of a scale of 1 to berserk.
Oh,
So we'll need to start doing that for anime as well.
I gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, you can also become part of the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast and join your other addicts by joining our website at aapodcast.com/join. Go there, you can get so much more content from us. You can get hentai episodes, hobby addicts, after parties, and up to 8 additional podcast episodes per month for less than $1. So
Well.
join up.
There it is.
There it is. You can also speak to your other addicts by going to our Facebook group. It's facebook.com/groups/AAPodcast. And you can also check us out on Twitter at AAPodcast and our Discord, where it's very active. We have lots of stuff going on. You can join my manga club. This week we are reading Vinland Saga, and that will be Wednesday. So if you are listening to this live, then you still have time. If
Get
you're listening
on
to
it.
this on Thursday,
Get on it. I command you.
yeah, because Mason won't be here.
Don't
You
bring
need
it
to
up.
fill in for him. But yeah, if you're listening to this on Thursday, unfortunately, it will be too late. But you can join us for the next one. Go to our Discord, go down to Manga Club, check the pin notes, and you can see what we have coming up, as well as the dates. And you can also suggest manga to me that you would like us to read. Yeah. And today for our podcast, we have an interesting topic that Icyrose has been very excited for us to do. It was suggested by him. He's been wanting this for a while. It is listener choice poll, to troll or not to troll, whether or not yeah, whether or not our listener choice.
Majestic.
Yeah, very majestic. A debate whether or not our listener choice listener choice poll is troll or not.
It's a troll poll. You got to
Troll poll. Yeah. We also have a review for Price of Smiles coming up, which is one of Mitsugi's shows. And also, big thanks to Icyrose up on our Twitter and Facebook group. You can go to our listener choice poll. I'm sorry, we finished it. We have the results are in. I'm sorry, I did not see that till just now.
Well, wait, is the listener choice in or the?
They're both in, biatch.
Okay,
That's right.
excellent. Lay it on me. What do we got?
Alrighty, so listener choice poll. The fourth runner-up was Mix Meisai at 5.2%.
No. That's just. I just wanted everybody to know that Mix, which we removed from the.
Oh, gotcha.
That it didn't really do that well in the poll.
Right, gotcha. Okay.
It only had 5% of the vote.
So not too much love
Loser.
was lost.
Do you want to go ahead and read off what the third and seconds are?
Third place was
Whoever.
Seiwayuki Kitsune no Senko-san, which I don't know what the hell
Which
that
one is
is.
that?
I don't know.
Isn't
Oh,
that
that's
a really comfy show about the fox that helps.
yes. I have
Yeah.
not seen it, but I've seen some people who are like, "This is actually really."
Maximum comfiness.
Yeah.
Anyway, it had 8.6% of the vote, so it's the second loser.
Mm.
And first loser is Mason.
Hitori Bochi, no Marumaru Sakatsu at a pretty close to the first, 15.5%.
Yes.
Very
Which is
close.
another comfy show that people have been very adamant about.
And
I think clearly the two comfy shows sort of split their votes probably, and that probably cost them both the win.
I actually haven't seen anything from the second one. But our first that we will be reviewing is Isekai Quartet at 17.2% of the votes.
Yeah, that was one of mine. I failed it. It really isn't that bad, you know. It is funny. It's funny. It'll be a super easy watch for all of us doing a review on it because the episodes are like 8 minutes long. So it's going to be a snap, and yeah, I don't know. It's one of those shows where if you're a fan of the characters that are included in the show, you're going to love it. Otherwise, you just won't even know what the hell's going on.
Yeah,
So-
it might be hard because I haven't seen all of the Isekai shows in it. I haven't seen ReZero at all.
Yeah, I hadn't seen. The thing is, though, is that I hadn't seen a couple of them either. But the tropes from them are so well known that it's pretty easy. Like everybody knows Aqua is like dumb, you know.
So
Yeah.
it's what, Konosuba, Overlord, Tanya the Evil, and ReZero?
Yes.
Any others?
That's just the four.
Okay.
Was there? Just the four of them. Okay, so I've seen 3 of them. I just haven't seen ReZero.
I think
at all.
you'll be good to go.
But our retro poll results are also in.
Oh boy.
And so yeah, out of the 4, the one in 1/4 place was Key, the Metal Idol, with 7.1%. Third was Irresponsible.
1/4 place is such a nice way to put the person in last.
Poor Key, the metal idol.
Fourth was irresponsible Captain Taylor at 20.2%, followed by Space Battleship Yamato at 21.4%. But the one that we will be reviewing is Pat Labor. It's a 7-episode OVA, and it won with 26.2%.
Yep, that's the one.
That's Master Keaton.
Master Keaton was in there somewhere. You have to go look on Twitter to get the result of the poll because Icyrose posted the whole result for us. But
Gotcha.
there's a lot of Pat Labor shows, and this is the one from 1988, the OVA of that 7 episodes. So don't get it confused. I think in English it's called the original series, otherwise known as Early Days. of Mobile Suit of Mobile Police, Pat Libor. So that was one of Enzo's. So he should be happy.
Awesome. I think that's everything. Do you guys have anything else you want to cover before we jump in?
No. Consider the house kept.
The house kept?
What?
House kept
the
with
house
our
is
house
kept.
cleaner.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
Well, in that case, let's continue. How about that?
Let's just keep on Chuck Cooning our way through this.
Ooh, there you go.
おー、大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
What is the big news of the week, Mandy?
So our big news of the week is actually the biggest news that I could find because everyone is talking about it right now. Neon Genesis Evangelion has been released on Netflix on Friday. People were very much looking forward to it. But, yeah, some people are very disappointed with a few things with the new release. It is missing a very iconic song.
Yeah, it is.
On Friday. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Are you talking about the ending theme?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
All 26 episodes of the classic has just landed on US Netflix. But yeah, as fans have very quickly noticed, it is missing the original ED, Fly Me to the Moon. It has been replaced, and fans are not happy about it. This is all the news I've seen everywhere this week. This is the first time anime fans have been able to stream the show legally since the American license ran out back in 2011. But the new release made some other big changes. It has an all-new English dub cast. Much of the original music has been removed, and the ED has been swapped out. But if you go and look at Japanese Netflix, it is still streaming there, the original ED. So it is just the US version. The original song's composition was meant to be uplifting after a lot of the show's depressing subject matter. But the newer piano version has left a lot of viewers feeling a little eerie, is what the consensus that I am seeing.
I love Ray's theme or whatever that piano theme. I mean, I noticed it, but like, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, did you watch it? I have not watched it yet because I'm on Legend of Galactic Heroes.
I of course. I intended to watch one episode of Evangelion, but failed to do that and ended up watching 3 episodes last night because it's just so damn good. And
it really is.
It really is just so. It's a shame the end of it is so bad because the beginning is just, wow. It's something else.
Honestly, I like the original ending.
I think this is one of your favorite anime, isn't it?
I mean, I don't know if it's one of my favorites, but I definitely appreciate it and love it for its ending.
So I have a hot take for you.
Okay.
I think the new English voices are better than the old ones.
I've seen some people on and off about this. Some people are saying that they don't like them at all, that they feel emotionless. But I've also seen a lot of people who are like, I really like the dub actors because they feel less cartoony. So
yeah, they feel like real actors and not. They feel like they're real people acting and not, I
need to watch
nothing
this.
against Spike Spencer and the others, but like back then, to my knowledge, they were very young, sort of new actors, and I mean, I think Netflix is just picking more accomplished people to do the voice work. I don't want to I'm trying to throw anybody under the bus, but I just think that like people that are complaining about this English cast are merely the people that either have watched the dub of Evangelion over and over and over again to the point where they are so emotionally attached to the original English voices that they can't pry themselves away from that, or they watched it really recently and it's just fresh in their mind. Because personally, I know what their voices sound like in English from before, but I haven't watched the English Evangelion in years, and so like their voices are easily overwritten with these new ones, and I'm like, wow, the voices sound good.
Well, I feel like I've heard half and half, between half of it being like the sound of the new cast, the other half is like the actual like new translations that went along with it.
Oh, that is why I am
concerned about that. So it seems like it's a two-pronged stake of pain for a lot of.
Yeah, I've heard they changed some very key translations, and people were not happy about that.
Well, as far as that's concerned, I'm not really speaking to that. I'm just speaking to how the voices are.
The acting.
But I'll tell you right. But I'll tell you something. Are we sure that the original English translations weren't incorrect?
I have no idea.
Because like, personally, just spitballing, Netflix might do a better job of translating, considering they do every single show into like 7 or 8 languages. They might do a better job than whatever small company did the dub like 25 years ago.
I feel like the current one that's on Netflix was not done by Netflix, but done by Kara itself, the actual, studio that Anna works with. But I would have to look into that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I need to watch it.
Sounds like we all need to watch it before.
Yeah, because I'm stuck on my Legend of the Galactic Heroes binge, and I'm not stopping until I finish it. So
I will say
this will come after.
I will say that if you put it in English dub and you put the English subtitles on, they don't match, which I found a little annoying. So if you're like watching it in like a room where you can't make a lot of noise, so you have the volume on but it's really soft, so you put the subtitles on, or maybe it's so noisy where you are that you can't hear and you put the subtitles on, they're not going to match at all, and it's a little annoying that like they'll say something in English and you can't help but read it, below when you're watching if it has the subs, and you're like, wait a second, they're saying the things that aren't what I'm reading, and that can be a little distracting. But I don't know. I think it's just as good as before. It's kind of nice to have it all over again.
I can't wait to watch it whenever I finally get the chance. I'm free to do so. But Netflix hasn't confirmed the reasons for the song change, at least. But people are assuming that's due to licensing conflicts. Yeah. We just don't know.
Yeah, it's Fly Me to the Moon that it's missing.
Correct. Was there anything else you guys wanted to touch on before we move on to Good Bad Moe?
Well, regardless if it's a good or bad dub relative to people who have already seen it, if you for some reason have not checked out Eva yet, don't let Icyrose drops persuade you otherwise. Please, it's essential watching for
you don't like eating
anime fans. There we go.
No shit burgers.
Whether or not mecha is your aesthetic or not, it's such an important touchstone to the culture and industry that you owe it to yourself to give it a watch.
Definitely.
What I will say, I am curious though about one thing, and that's honestly, to put it bluntly, who cares? Like, I just want to throw that out there real quick, because I'm like, lots of shows come out on Netflix that have been released a long time ago, and even some of these shows are rather popular. Why is it that Evangelion gets special treatment? Is what I'm wondering about. I mean, I know it's iconic, but like, people make such a fuss over it just because it's Evangelion. But like, it is really iconic. But would it really be any more iconic than if a show like Escaflowne made it onto Netflix?
Has the license for Escaflowne been like expired for almost a decade?
Yeah.
I think the reason why I mention it is because it's not like it's a new series of Eva. It's just they're just basically reprinting it and putting it someplace else.
Right.
So yeah, I was always kind of confused why this was such a big deal.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of what we talked about before with Game of Thrones, with people hyping up their expectations way too much to the point where they're going to be disappointed with anything, really. So any change, I don't know.
In summary, I think that it's fine. Like, I think it's really good. And I think that if the English voices bother you, then just put it in Japanese. So
I'm excited though. I want to watch it. I need to have chance, or I need to have time to do so.
Okay. You want to move on?
Let's do it.
Howdy, partner. I seen you riding in on that dusty trail. Welcome to the good, the bad, and the moe.
Final Fantasy XIV has a new trailer out for the movie Dad of Light. The Dad of Light is a drama series that is about, I guess it aired back in 2017. It's a story about a boy and his father who try to mend their relationship by playing Final Fantasy XIV together, which I think is really kind of a cute idea. And it's there's also some in-game footage in the film and in the drama Not all the cast came back. The roles of Akio and his father have been replaced by different actors. It looks like the actor who played Akio's father in the original drama, Ren Osugi, passed away last year, so that's unfortunate. But for those of you that liked the TV series, there's a film coming out, and also Netflix added the original drama to the U.S. streaming back in 2017, so you can still check that out.
It's so cute. I highly recommend it. Especially if you've played Final Fantasy XIV, it's such a delight. I really enjoyed it a lot.
Shibuya has passed Halloween drinking ordinances. I don't think this is really all that big of a shock. People always think of Japan as being a really peaceful country. Oh, and this is the bad, by the way. But things have been getting out of hand during certain holidays in Japan, namely Halloween. Last year, 10 people were arrested by police when they flipped over a truck amongst the crowds in Shibuya, people climbing on street poles, acting crazy, getting drunk. There's a ban going up for alcohol that's going to ban alcohol drinking on Halloween and New Year's Eve. The ban's going to prohibit drinking of alcohol in the streets, parks, and areas surrounding Shibuya Station, which is probably the busiest crosswalk in the world, maybe. It's the one that has the Hachiko statue near it. And this is, of course, because of all the problems that they've been having. So, for the Moe, 3D artists have dared each other to create Pokemon in 5 minutes amid a backlash of Sword and Shield, the new game coming out from Pokemon.
I love this story so much. I couldn't wait to put it on.
So, an outraged fan had criticized Game Freak on Japanese Twitter, stating that, quote, "It only takes 5 minutes to create the graphics for Pokemon." And this was, of course, a comment to Sword and Shield only having a certain number of Pokemon for the game's release day. And of course, 3D artists all over the world came to Game Freak's defense by posting actually what you can do in 5 minutes of designing Pokemon. And so there's a hashtag that you can follow, hashtag Pokemon 5-minute modeling. And there's just like this litany of really goofy looking Pokemon, like the actual Pokemon that you'll recognize, but like people trying to make them in 5 minutes. And
they're so precious. They're so precious.
Most of them just look like total crap. So to the point of the people that are defending Game Freak. With the exception of the one that you posted here, the blue dude. What's the blue spaghetti guy's name?
Tangela.
Tangela, I think kind of looks kind of funny. He looks kind of good.
I love this Machoke so much. He's so cute.
Yeah.
He has like a Gumby face.
I hate this tweet because I don't like Game Freak being let off the hook for not having more Pokemon. But if it creates more art like this, it makes my life. And I highly recommend looking up this Twitter account, and you will just be smiling the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm. They're really cute. This Ditto, someone just took like a blob and just drew little eyeballs and a mouth on it. It's so cute.
Yeah, I think they definitely made their point.
Yeah, it takes a lot longer than 5 minutes to make a fully rendered Pokemon.
A whole hell of a lot longer.
A whole hell of a lot longer.
It's probably more like a week. So,
oof.
I have no idea. I'm just guessing, but I know it's a hell of a lot longer. The worst one is probably the
Slowpoke.
The Slowpoke's pretty bad, but I guess the Machamp or whatever is pretty bad. And that's the good, the bad, and the Moe.
Yeah.
There was some other pretty goofy stuff that I'm going to cover in the news break, but like there was an awful lot of conversation about Tifa's boobs in the upcoming.
Yeah.
The people want answers. The people want answers.
Well, people are like, oh, who is the ESRB to say how can they control the morals and the rules of 170 countries, and why are boobs why is having boobs something that needs to be removed to prevent being offensive? And I don't know, but there was an awful lot of conversation going on about like Tifa and yeah.
When I was looking up. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying that kind of qualified for the Moe too, I think, in my mind, but this is pretty good too.
No, Pokemon is precious. I had to do it. That Machoke needs to be everywhere. He's so cute. Yeah, when I was looking through articles for the bad, I was having a really hard time because it's like, obviously the biggest bad was fans being upset over the new Ava, and there's a lot of news on Madhouse, but not like we've already talked about Madhouse's practices so much. I can't do Madhouse
and
anymore.
that's going to be in the news break as well.
Good.
So, for the trivia, the last question. This was the last one for this week, or for this month rather. The 80s OVA theme is over. The last answer was Area 88, which is fairly well known property, and the winner for the week was Gurren Lager, which I think is kind of a fun name. But Gurren Lager did not win for the month. I'm so sorry. The winner for the month is Ash Basham 69.
Holy moly.
Ash.
It must be my birthday.
619, but yeah.
619 Basham.
Oh, I've read that 69, but whoops.
He knows who he is.
Yeah. So I've already reached out to you. You're gonna win either a Ferrari, a Tesla, or a speedboat. So I hope you're excited for that. So
Damn, such lovely prizes.
I know. All you had to do was know, some nerdy shit. So. And the theme for the next month is anime with summer in the title. So they're literally, because it's the summertime. So they're literally 4 anime that I found that have the word summer in the title. And there are a lot more than 4 of them, but I picked 4. So you can go on the website, AAAPodcast, have fun with that, and scroll down a bit, and you just submit what the anime is, and if you might win a speedboat. So that's definitely something you shouldn't miss out on. All right.
I will do the weekly trivia question that we will answer after the break. Which character from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure possesses a stand that does not reference a song, artist, or album earlier than 1980? We will answer it after the break.
Hey everybody, Mitsuki's here, bringing you a dose of that anime news. Leading us off today, we have a very famous voice actor that is getting married. Voice actor Yuki Kaji is getting married to Ayana Taketatsu. They both announced their marriages on Twitter recently, and it looks like the big-time star Yuki Kaji, who is best known for voice acting Eren Yeager in Attack on Titan, and Ayana Taketatsu, who voiced Azusa Nakano and K-On!, and as well as doing other works, are both going to be tying the knot. So this is also pretty sweet because Taketatsu's tweet was posted on her 30th birthday. So for those of you that are fans of these seiyuu, they are going to be tying the knot and entering a marriage. Next up, this year's August edition of Manga Time Kirara Forward announced that another anime adaptation of a baseball property is being made, Tamayomi, which is about a young girl in junior high school whose name is Tomi Takeda, who was not able to get very far in a cross-school baseball tournament since the catcher on her team wasn't very good and she wasn't able to use her signature move, the magic throw. Well, after her junior high school ends, Yomi decides to quit baseball, but eventually bumps into a childhood friend that not only plays baseball, but is able to catch her magic throw. So the two are walking the road of baseball once again. Another popular manga title about baseball, including girls, that is going to be made into anime coming up. Next up, catching us up on the catastrophe at Madhouse Studios and their, quote, abusive practices against their employees, making them work too hard. We know that previously the freelance animators at the studio had been hospitalized because of the treatment of their employees at Madhouse Studios, and it looks like there haven't really been a whole lot of reforms done, despite the claim that talks were going to be made about reforming the practices at the studio. Their quote, weren't there supposed to be reforms about the labor conditions? And he said that, quote, nothing has changed at all. So it doesn't sound like a lot of progress has been made at Madhouse Studios, and I don't think anybody is going to be surprised. Next up, the website Goo ranked the opinions of over 3,000 women about what their most anticipated upcoming summer anime films would be. The top 5 being Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution, which comes out on July 12th. Weathering with You, which is the new Makoto Shinkai film, opens up on July 19th. Ride Your Wave opens up on June 21st. Children of the Sea at number 2, opening on June 7th. And lastly, at number 1, One Piece Stampede, opening up on August 9th, showing that women also love One Piece. This was Mitsuki, and this was your anime news break. Now, as always, it's time to get back to the podcast.
After Parties Hobby Addicts Hentai Episodes. After Parties Hobby Addicts Hentai Episodes. After Parties Hobby Addicts Hentai
What
Episodes.
in the world are you two doing? I'm trying to sleep here. It's midnight.
We're using Mandy's arcane power to do a content prayer dance.
Yeah, we're hoping the content gods bless us with thrilling entertainment for the fans.
Content prayer dance. You know, there's a much easier way to make better content. How about starting with studying our vast archive of additional content on AAAPodcast.com?
Oh, I already have. I mean, it's only $7 a month for almost 8 additional episodes every month.
That's less than $1 per extra episode and super easy to get to. Just gotta type aapodcast.com/join to become a member.
You went through the whole archive? It's hundreds of hours.
Well, Senpai, anything is possible.
If you believe.
I think I'll just leave you two alone.
Hey, is he gone yet?
Yeah, ready.
Yeah. After Parties Hobby Addicts Hentai Episodes. After Parties Hobby Addicts Hentai Episodes.
My name is Brett Weaver, voice of Toji Suzahara. You know, from Evangelion. I'm a total anime addict.
You've heard of Confessions of a Popedom, but now comes the heartwarming tale of Kazuo.
I don't know any country songs, so I'm trying to like sing along to songs I don't know and getting drunk with some grandma.
From the best-selling authors of Her Moe Majesty and The Best Yuri Bartender in Florida comes Growing Up Kazuo.
First time I was in a shootout, 2 years old. South Bronx, going across the street in my baby stroller. My uncle was pushing me, and a shootout broke out in the middle of the street.
Be there through the formative years.
So I was 16, I think, and my family went on a cruise to the Bahamas. For some reason, they thought it was a good idea to give me and him, his name's Steve, our own room. These two young men, let's give them their own room. What trouble could they possibly get into? As we're walking onto the cruise ship for the first time, we're walking through the hallway. There's like a door that's ajar, and I open it, and I look inside. It's like a janitorial closet, so there's like brooms and mops and whatnot. And there's also a big bottle of whiskey just sitting in this janitorial closet. And I'm like, okay, mental note, close the door. So later on that night, we pick up the bottle of whiskey, get completely trashed. We're basically drunk the entire cruise.
Will a child's dreams come true?
It wasn't even an option growing up. Like it was a dream that a young poor boy had, that I was like, one day I'm gonna go to Japan, and it was like,
Believe it. Gonna go to Japan?
and I was like, that's never gonna happen. That's not possible. Like at best, you will not end up in prison.
And tales of young love.
My first like real kiss. Like we've all had like when we were kids, you little peck, you know, you're playing spin the bottle or something like that. But my first real like sexual kiss, like makeout session. And we end up, her and I make our way to her bedroom. So this is about to get super explicit. She's got him on one side, me on the other. Then have you ever heard of an Eiffel Tower?
Growing Up Kazuo. Flying off bookshelves everywhere. Order yours now on Amazon or by visiting www.AAAPodcast.com. Now, back to the show. Mandy?
Hello. Oh, sorry. I was waiting for the music to fade out. I thought we were just going to listen today. We are back from our break where I was thinking, you know what? We give people a lot of news. There's a lot of good stuff in there.
Well, heck yeah, there is.
But before we went on break, we asked a question. And do you want to cover the trivia, Mason?
Sure, I've got it. We asked, which character from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure possesses a stand that does not reference a song, artist, or album earlier than 1980? The answer is Giorno Giovanna from currently airing Venture Arturo.
Yep.
His stand Gold Experience is named after the Prince album, The Gold Experience, which came out in 1995.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I was looking up Stan stuff, I was like, man, I'm actually surprised that this is the only one that's after 1980. Everyone else is like from the 70s mostly. But thank you. So up next we have my manga minute,
Hell yeah, we do.
where I tried my best to find something to pair with our anime today. I had to go through my shelves and try to find something that was like, because I'm not a really huge sci-fi fan, so I mean, I didn't have, I don't know, we don't have a large collection of manga, like sci-fi manga that we get translated over here. There's very few that don't already have anime adaptations. So I had to do a search for it, but I think I found something.
Let's freaking do it.
And now, let's take a minute for the Manga Minute with Mandy.
I'm ready to go.
Man, that's some hyped up Natsume music. This is Mandy's Manga Minute, where I take a minute to tell you about a manga to help you find something. And this is All You Need Is Kill.
All you need is kill, baby.
Which is very popular already, and you will find out why in a little bit after I get through the synopsis. Strange creatures known as mimics have invaded Earth, sparking a global war that has humanity fighting for survival. In response, mankind forms a United Defense Force, a joint organization that has overcome threats. Dedicated to the extermination of the growing mimics menace, soldiers are plunged into battle, wearing special exoskeleton combat suits in an attempt to gain the upper hand against their foes. New recruit Keiji Kiriya is immediately killed after his first deployment, but to his shock, he wakes up exactly one day before. His unit has dropped into a mimic invasion. After experiencing the same event yet again, he realizes that he is stuck in a time loop, triggered by his death. This actual synopsis is much longer than that, but I had to cut him off. It was already too long. So All You Need Is Kill is a sci-fi action series. The art is by Takeshi Obata, while the story is based on a novel by Hiroshi Sakurazaka. The manga story is written by Ryosuke Takuchi. The novel is released back in 2004, while this manga is released in 2014. It is available in English in one giant omnibus volume. This is also the novel that the Hollywood movie Edge of Tomorrow is based on. So if the synopsis sounds familiar, that's why. The synopsis pretty much tells you everything you need to know about this manga. It's very short, but it's also extremely fast-paced. The very beginning of the manga is intense and very quick to get to the point. It never gives you any really unnecessary moments or drama. The last half is a little slower than the first half, and it introduces you to a little bit more backstory about the characters, exposition, and starts to develop a little bit of a hint of a romance with the main protagonist. And the only downfall to this manga, I mean, to the story being so short, is the lack of development in the main cast, I think. But the art is very detailed, packed with shading. The action scenes can be a little bit messy at times, but if you're not looking for anything really deep and you're just craving some action, you can definitely give this one a shot. I think it's a fun read and does a decent job at utilizing the short amount of time it has.
How long of a manga is it?
It's only one giant omnibus volume. It may have released 2 volumes in Japan. The pages, the art is very large, so there's not as much dialogue or reading, really. I'm trying to find the page count.
I feel like I've seen this like on shelves almost everywhere I've gone. Like it's pretty easy to find.
The omnibus is 424 pages, I think.
It's pretty good.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, up next we have our main topic, which was suggested by Icyrose. And it is
He really wanted to do this. Oh, well,
He
really
was so excited.
Yeah.
I was looking at the show notes when I started up the show notes because I knew he had information he wanted to put in. And I was like, the show notes are all yours. The main topic has been cleared out. And when I checked back the next day, it was packed with information. I'm like, shit, Icyrose has been excited about this.
Yeah, he really wanted us to get through this.
Yeah.
All right, so there have been, let me count them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There have been 22 listener choice polls.
Mm-hmm.
That's a shitload. We've been doing this since 2013. Fall of 2013 was the first one. So, which is more than half the time that this podcast has existed. So this has been a pretty present part of our show for a long time now.
Yeah.
But people always hear us.
The one? I was gonna say, who's the one that always said that there's a troll vote?
Well, I think back in the day it was Chiaki and I who said it was a troll vote because we would always people would literally say, "Oh, vote for this because we want to troll people." You know, let's grief the hosts because of course we have stuff that we fail, and the impression's pretty harsh, and so someone's like, "Oh, well, we know that Mitsugi hates this show. Let's make that the listener choice poll and really stick it to him." Or somebody will say, "Oh my God, there's this little sister show this season. We have to make them watch that," and then somebody will be rallying to get that show voted in. So there's a lot of stuff here, and I think we can go through them all and one by one decide if they're troll votes or not, and maybe.
Yeah, when I was looking through this list, there's only one on this list. I was like, that's for sure a troll vote. There's no debating that. But the rest of them, I can understand where they, how that was voted in.
All right, well, we'll talk about it here. The first one we ever had for a pass from listener choice was Golden Time.
I have not seen this, so I have no idea.
Do you watch Golden Time, Mason?
I have not.
All right, so Golden Time was this romance show that came out, way back then. It had Nana made a cameo in it.
Okay.
And my take on Golden Time is that it was actually a pretty decent show. So, and there's nothing in it that's particularly trolly. Oh, Mitsugi hates Moe, and oh, Chiaki doesn't want to watch little people fantasizing over their little sisters or whatever. So this show just doesn't seem to contain any of those characteristics. And so I can't really say that this one fits into the troll vote category.
Yeah, this might be a little difficult because there are a few shows on this list that I've never seen. There are some that definitely have seen because they're extremely popular, but I don't know, there's some on here that I have no clue of what it's about.
So what I've done for all the ones I haven't seen, I've gone to the archives and tried to see what score the host gave it to compare that to the lowest score that they picked. So for example, I haven't seen Golden Time, but the average score after everyone rated it was a 3, which is not bad. The lowest score of Fall 2013, which is what it was selected in, was Arpeggio of Blue Steel, which had a 1.5. So even if it was a troll vote, it was a better vote than what the host had picked. So,
I was sleeping so well, and now you had to go and do this.
just for example. So, I would say even if it was a troll vote, it wasn't the worst vote, and that counts for something. So I think you can say not a troll.
Yeah, for the ones that I haven't seen, I went on Mal just to see how many people scored it and what score it had, just to get a good idea of, did anybody actually watch this? And if a lot of people have watched it, what is the general consensus between them? So yeah, Golden Time, it had 200,000 users that listed it as watched, and it had a 7.87, which isn't bad at all. So
no, it's really not a bad show. I mean, there's nothing about it that really jumps out at you as oh, this is cringy, or let's make them watch this. The next show, though, and I think this is a great example of where I think that methodology, Mandy, won't work, is No Game, No Life. Now, this is a show that has a ton of people have watched it. It's got an 8.4 or something on my anime list. Everyone seems to love it. But Chiaki and I hate this anime, and she tore this thing a new one when we did the impression. And the reason for that was that it was the first 3 episodes, there was an awful lot of little sister love in it. And then I think back then the mindset is, oh my God, Chiaki failed this, but it's, let's force them to watch the Little Sister show because they hate it. So it's like, it's when you vehemently express that you hate something is when you end up
people
having to
attach it to you.
Exactly.
I don't know. I think also it is No Game No Life is a vastly popular show. And I think if enough people, if they're like, this is my favorite show this season, are obviously going to vote for it because they're hoping that maybe if you give it another chance, maybe you'll see something else better down the road, maybe. Because when the listener choice poll comes out, it's past those first 3 episodes. So maybe, I don't know, maybe if somebody has seen 6 episodes of it, they're like, oh, maybe they'll like it past the first 3.
They just wanted you guys to get all the JoJo references in it.
Yes,
they were just trying to prepare you guys.
Yeah.
But no, I definitely agree that with the hindsight that listeners have of being 8 or 9 episodes in when they're voting on it, the show has much more time to appeal to them, and they can say, oh, they just didn't watch enough episodes. They'll like it more later on. But that, I would say, definitely not a troll vote in intent. So I'm sure some might have contributed to it.
All right. So, I mean, I can kind of go along with that, I think that a lot of people have seen No Game, No Life. It was probably, I'm not sure what else came out in the spring of 2014, but I'm sure it was probably the most popular show that season. And
I was also going to say another thing to take into account is what were the other options? Because if there's no good options, everyone has to vote for something. So,
right.
I don't know. I talked with you, I discussed this before with you, that I think we should put retro reviews on our listener choice poll. So to give people a chance, if they don't like anything, if everything else sucks, maybe that will help solve this a little bit.
You just really want Keaton in there.
I just want to watch Master Keaton. People vote for it. Damn it.
To speak to people voting for things when you have especially said you don't like it, if you count out the number of times that Kazuo has had a anime that he failed brought back, he has had it happen to him a lot more often than anybody else. And almost as many as everybody else combined, actually. Maybe
to be fair, though.
And I think he's very, intense about it. Think about how much he hated Darling in the Franxx. Hated it. So, of course they were going to vote for it.
Yeah, to be fair, though, he tends to pick shows based off popularity.
He does.
And he tends to be very harsh in general over anime. I mean, he usually has the lowest scores. Usually. So, I mean, if he's picking shows based off popularity and Darling in the Franxx happened to be extremely popular, I mean, people are going to vote whichever one that they like the most, regardless of what Kazuo said, hoping that maybe another host will have a different opinion. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like it's kind of like the next season, summer of 2014, where Tokyo Ghoul was picked. That was originally failed by Cram, but that's just a hyper popular show that just you can't even if we all failed, let's say the next season of My Hero Academia, there's not a chance that wouldn't.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because of raw numbers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say there's always a chance that maybe somebody is like, maybe another host will have a different opinion. I want to hear their view on it. Also, I think somebody who really hates the show might also vote for it because they want to have their opinions validated. They're like, man, this show is so popular, I want them to shit on it. So that's always that possibility as well. And I don't think at that point it's a troll. I don't think they want to grief you. They just want you to get their opinion out, I would think. I don't know.
The only other show from 2014 that got passed from the listeners was Witchcraft Works, a show I did not enjoy. I don't really know how popular it was. It sure came and went like the wind. I'll say that much. It was failed by Cram way back when I was living in Japan. But it just doesn't feel very trolly to me. This one, Witchcraft Works, it doesn't jump out at you as being particularly ecchi or particularly Little Sister, or it doesn't strike negatively with any of our tastes. Cram was always very level-headed, so I can't really see him failing something in the way that Kazuo might, which is tear it to little tiny little specks of paper. Cram would have failed it, but he would politely fold it up and put it back on the table. You know what I mean? So, but 2015, and I'm gonna kind of, and Amagi Brilliant Park, which was another one, but we didn't even do an impression on that.
Yeah, that was a wild card that came up from a sequel thing. So I would say because that was Kyoto Animation,
Correct. Yeah.
like you can always bank on them being solid enough that people want to see it.
The shows
I
from
would say once again, not a troll vote.
Sure, and I agree with you. The shows from 2015 that made it were Maria the Virgin Witch, which I failed, Charlotte, Food Wars, Shokugeki no Soma, and Chivalry of a Failed Knight, which must have been a terrible show because I can't even remember watching that. I know I must have watched it.
Out of those, the only one I've seen is Food Wars. So I don't know anything about the others. I know Charlotte was very popular. That's all I know.
So Food Wars, I think, was so popular that it makes sense it would pass. It's kind of like
sure.
Shonen
Jump. Yeah.
Charlotte was the ending of Charlotte that made it so horrible. Mm-hmm. So, and I don't think people would have been at the ending of it yet at the point in which they were voting on listener's choice.
Correct.
So
I haven't seen Chivalry of a Failed Knight, so I have no idea what that's about.
I can't remember it at all. Now, Maria the Virgin Witch had an awful lot of like naked witch girls in it and like just generally questionable things, but that show also I don't recall hating it so much that people would pass it just to get at me,
Mm.
Looking at summer of 2015, that's one where Charlotte was the listener's choice.
Mm-hmm.
And that season looks horrendous. It almost sounds like it wasn't a troll vote and they were just legitimately trying to find something good. Because the other shows that were reviewed was like Ushio and Tora, Ranpo Kitan, School Live, Gate, Ahoro, X Machine Gun, Gangsta, and like maybe Symphogear and Shimonetta were somewhat good, but like that was just a weak season all around, and you can't have a troll if everything is bad.
Yeah, I'm looking at the winter 2015 where Virgin Witch was chosen, and a lot of these shows, there are some really good shows. Like Death Parade was probably passed, and I don't know if you guys watched Assassination Classroom. Yeah, if I can even say it, Assassination Classroom.
That was fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say most of the the very popular shows were sequels. A lot of the shows on here that were originals are not. They don't look good. So, I mean, that Virgin Witch was closer to the top of popularity of that season.
Wow, that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
Because that show was super lukewarm. The following year was Grimgar Fantasy and Ash, Thunderbolt Fantasy, Super Lovers, and he became Euphonium 2.
There's that troll vote.
Now
it's coming out.
Now, Thunderbolt Fantasy is just a good show. There's nothing about that that's trolly.
Yeah.
Grimgar Fantasy and Ash, I actually really like that show a lot. So, I personally don't think that's very trolly at all. But the other two...
That's a good example of maybe they went, oh, I think Mitsuki would like this show, so maybe vote for it to see what his opinions are.
They almost considered your feelings and interests. Wow, we love you fans sometimes.
Oh, the fans are so great.
But the next two, Super Lovers and Sound Euphonium 2, for totally different reasons, I think both of these could be troll votes. Super Lovers, obvious reasons.
For totally different reasons.
Super Lovers, obviously, because it's...
Obvious, that's an obvious troll.
And the other one is...
no debating.
That's a funny troll, though. Like that... Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like it.
And the other one, Kazuo, gets on mic and he's like, "Oh God, not another Sound Euphonium. How can I possibly bring myself to watch pretty cute girl characters talk about their high school drama for 13 more episodes?" And then he throws up all over the microphone and I have to buy a new one.
And it's a Kyoto Animation and it's a sequel to a beloved one. He was asking for it.
So I think he definitely opened himself up for that by being way more vocal than he needed to be in failing that. Because I know he was super rough on it.
Yeah, maybe.
So,
I could see half of that people genuinely wanting
loving
it
it,
to be seen, and half of it trying to get back at him. So I could go either way on if it's a quote unquote troll.
okay.
Wait, why did he pick that show for his?
Because he
Was
probably
it
sorted by popularity and saw it at the top.
That's what I thought.
And then picked it and said, "Oh no, I've made a great mistake."
I was like, how did he get that show? Again, could be another, maybe another host will like it. Possibility. I don't know.
Then the next year, Miss Kobayashi's Maid Dragon, Tsurezude Children, Era Manga Sensei, and Recovery of an MMO Junkie was 2017.
So Era Manga Sensei, I think, is once again a troll vote in that people just saw it for the cluster that it was and just wanted to hear your reactions on it.
So you think that was trolling?
I think it was less to make you guys suffer sort of troll and just more to hear the content that you guys
They wanted the meme.
Yeah. You gotta keep the meme dream alive.
Be part of the meme, yeah. That show ended up being a lot of people's guilty pleasures. So like, it's just so bad, but I'm loving it. So maybe they were also hoping it'd be a really funny review. I mean,
yeah, it was all over the community and GIFs and screenshots and fandubs. Like, it was definitely permeating the culture. So I could see how people think it's just natural to keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
All
but as far as Dragon Maid was very adorable though. So and KyoAni, so I'm not surprised that passed at all. What were the other ones?
Tsurezude Children.
Tsurezude Children, which I actually really liked.
We watched that together. Yeah.
Because those are a bunch of shorts.
Super adorable.
I voted for Tsurezude Children in that poll, and I wasn't.
So did I.
I wasn't trolling, so fact.
I wasn't trolling either.
Fact. 2 out of the hundreds of people that voted just validated not a troll.
I watched that and I was super bored, but I don't think there's anything in it that's trolly. So,
Recovery of an MMO Junkie. They knew I was going to be on this show, and they're like, "We need to pass this for Mandy.
We need literally Mandy to talk about Mandy.
We need literal Mandy to talk about herself in an anime." That's what happened.
Then the following year is when stuff starts to happen with Kazuo.
And this is 2018 that we're talking about.
Yeah, 2018. Because Kazuo gets really crazy about things and starts to just take a shit on everything. There's like shit all over the walls, the ceiling. It's like when a Roomba drives over
my man.
I was gonna say. Then now we have Mason.
Do you have a story to share?
No. Just
he hates everything.
Just a man after my own heart.
So, Darling in the Franxx, Kazuo loses his shit. He writes a dissertation of hatred. The thick, venomous bile that was spouted during that impression has shaken the anime community to its foundation.
I know what the best part about that is? The best part of his entire spiel is he rated the show higher
than everyone else?
Than all the other hosts. when he had to review it.
So poetic.
I don't know. I just can't know what to say about that. And Sword Art Online, Gun Gale Online reads as...
I mean, that's just raw popularity.
Yeah, and that one actually ended up not being as bad as the rest of Sword Art Online. I think most of the people who are like, I don't like Sword Art Online, were like, that one was actually pretty decent because it was all new characters. And I believe Kazuo also ended up liking that one to a certain amount. Like, he was like, this is all right. Yep. I think it was me, him, and Enzo who did that route.
Then in the next season, Kazuo again hated How Do Not Summon a Demon Lord, and then followed that up with a good impression of Bunny Girl Senpai, but then he failed that as well. And I think you can make a decent claim that Demon Lord was probably going to win that poll anyway because of how popular it was, but I think that it was helped by the hatred that Kazuo put on it because people wanted to make sure he had to watch that shit.
I don't know. I'm trying to see
never
what else
saw
was in that
before,
season.
so I can't speak to that one specifically. But overall, that season wasn't bad, because even the shows that like were rated lower, like Fooly Cooley and Hanabado, they like started really promising, or had a lot of, Fooly Cooley is like a legendary franchise, so you have to review it.
In that season, I'm actually really surprised that Demon Lord won out over Grand Blue, because Grand Blue's manga is super popular. So I don't know. I'm surprised, but I don't know. I think a lot of people really actually legitimately enjoyed Demon Lord as an ecchi. So I don't know.
So, and I don't think Bunny Girl Senpai is a troll, because that show was good.
Obviously not.
Yeah.
That was definitely a we don't have enough spots for everything situation.
Yeah. And then the next 2 seasons were both ones that I failed: Boogie Pop and Others, and Isekai Quartet. And I don't really feel like these are troll votes either, because I didn't hate either of these shows. There was no reason to troll me. You only open yourself up for a troll when you fail something if you like aggressively hate it, because then people are, they get angry because they actually liked it and they want to make sure you have to talk about it. And Boogie Pop fandom was just slow and boring, and Isekai Quartet was, it is what it is. It was a comedy show. So,
I mean, I also feel like if you wanted the troll vote, there are much quote unquote worse, quote unquote better shows you could have picked to really like done that, but like it wouldn't have been like a collective community effort enough to actually make it happen,
So
like, for a troll vote, people need to be like in solidarity that there needs to be an obvious choice, and there really wasn't one.
Let's read through some of Icyrose's comments here before we make an assessment, because he did spend a lot of time doing this.
He did. He put in a lot of stuff. He said he's been preparing for this for a very long time.
So with Golden Time, he doesn't think it was a troll vote. It was made by the creators of Toradora, and which is a very popular romance sort of comedy show, and it's set in college, which lends itself to people assuming that it would contain less of your typical anime tropes. So, for Witchcraft Works, he says that he spotted recently My Little Sister's. He said there's no real clear reason that he thinks people pass this one either, and I kind of agreed, because to be honest, Witchcraft Works was just kind of lukewarm. So,
But he said, looking at the other options, he said the recently My Sister's Affairs Were Unusual was in that season, so if there was going to be a troll vote, it probably would have been that one. Because apparently that one was awful. I did not see that, but reading what he wrote about it, it sounds atrocious.
Then the next one, Amagi Brilliant Park, said that Psychopaths 2 was actually winning the poll, and then I put a no sequels clause into the poll, which removed it from the running. So for Amagi Brilliant Park, that one wouldn't even have been there, to be honest.
But the fate of Kazuo was to make him suffer, and by God did he do it.
Let's see here. Keep moving along. Charlotte had like good people behind it, but ultimately there's really not a whole lot to hate about this anime. And it's starting to feel like people that it's not so trolly. Super Lovers, obviously a troll vote. The Thunderbolt Fantasy, Icyrose is right in that it wasn't even on the poll until he told me to put it on, and I was like, oh yeah, well, it has all anime staff, so why not? So as far as I can tell on this, the only two that I think are troll votes are Sound Euphonium 2 and Super Lovers. That's about it.
Super Lovers, for sure. There's no debating that. But I don't know. Sound Euphonium, though,
it could go either way.
That's KyoAni.
Even if we do call it a troll vote, that's 2 out of what, like 20 or so that we decided to choose from. Yeah. So, you got 10% of the votes are trolls. It's not very high at all.
You guys are slacking. You got to step up your game, your troll game.
Yeah, where are the trolls at? Where are my trolls at?
Woo, woo. Yeah, yeah.
What is what do we have next season that could be a troll?
Oh no.
I know.
Oh.
Look, it's got to be one of these 18 billion isekais that are coming out.
I dare not speak before I feel like we're just.
Dumbbell.
No, that's gonna be.
Kidding.
That'd be the
That's
best troll. Please troll us. Please make us review that, because I don't mind that.
Dumbbell show could be a good one, for sure.
I mean maybe the mom like 2-hit combo show because it's got a funny name. Funny,
People are saying they
names are
love that
funny.
light novel though, so I don't know. That might be like a legitimate "I love this show" vote.
I think the Dumbbell is the obvious choice.
If it doesn't get passed.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
If it gets picked.
A troll vote would be making us watch 7 seasons of Yami Shibai. And how does it keep getting more seasons? I feel like every year it gets another season.
Well, we're gonna be doing picks next season, or next week rather. So.
Oh, I know, mine's done.
Yeah,
I did it like 2 weeks ago.
No one can pick Vinland Saga first.
I made sure no one can pick Vinland Saga but me.
Vinland Saga is locked in Dr. Stone in Mandy's book.
Why don't you explain what you did to the document, Mandy?
Oh yeah, I put all of my picks down, and Vinland Saga is number 1, but everyone else's number 1 is not Vinland Saga. I made sure. I'm just trying to help out, and trying to help them fill out their picks.
Yeah.
I was thinking about you guys.
So, in conclusion, do we all agree that the listener choice poll is not a troll vote?
Yes.
It's not a troll vote, and when it is funny. So, there you go.
It sounds like Mason wants to watch Super Lovers really bad.
Sounds like save your trolls for when they matter. So save it for when it counts.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Well, I feel like that was a pretty short topic. It only ran about 20 minutes, but I don't know that there's a whole lot more to say about it.
Yeah, I've never really had the thought that this was a troll vote. I think Cosmo was the one that was very adamant about it being a troll vote. So I'm kind of sad that he's not here.
Well, of course, because every time he failed, because he had vastly more shows come back that he had failed.
Yeah, so. He would have probably had a lot more to say.
Anyway. I mean, when I vote in this poll, I usually don't go for one of the ones that the host failed. I usually try to pick one that they either missed. Didn't pick or completely missed, like Sir Azure Children, I think, because that one wasn't. I don't think even on the docket.
Yeah.
So that's how I do it.
Do you guys have anything else to say, or would you like to go to the news break again?
I don't think I have anything else to say.
I mean, there's not much
wrap
more.
It up.
Yeah, I don't.
The fans are good. The fans are good to us.
The fans are fantastic. I love them. Thank you guys for giving us so many good shows to watch.
All right, guys. Intro trivia.
Oh yeah, I was going to read off our show trivia, which we'll answer after the break. In the anime Kono Oto Tomare, which instrument is the anime focused on? Is it the biwa, the shamisen, the koto, or the taiko drum?
Interesting.
And we'll answer after the break.
Hey everybody, Mitsugi's here, one last time, giving you another update about your anime news. Leading us off, NHK, the TV station in Japan, has a program titled Series Fuku Yomi Dokushokai, otherwise Reading Too Much into the Series Book Club. This is a book club TV series that is on the NHK, and on July 3rd, they're going to be doing a show that focuses on Hajime Isayama's Attack on Titan. They're going to have some pretty famous people on the show to discuss the manga, including Hideaki Arai, who is also a manga creator, actress Anne Suzuki, literary critic Shigeru Kashima, and novelist Genichiro Takahashi. So this is some pretty interesting stuff. You're gonna be able to hear some pretty famous people that are all involved in some kind of creative pursuit on July 3rd on the NHK for the Reading Too Much into a Series book club about Attack on Titan. Next up, a pretty ridiculous art gallery is coming to the Tokyo Ginza district. The quote, world's only jewelry art exhibition is going to feature artwork of properties from Osamu Tezuka, Rumiko Takahashi, and others. And they are all jeweled arts. So basically, this is anime artwork that is done in jewelry, including probably the most expensive piece in the collection, a quote, Sapphire's Princess Crown, a recreation of the crown worn by the main character in Osamu Tezuka's Princess Knight manga. On top of the crown is a star sapphire that is estimated with a value of $2.77 million US. The star sapphire on this crown is massive. This is no joke. Probably one of the most unbelievable art galleries that I've ever seen. You can find photos online if you want to view the art. Next up, it looks like there was some discussion about the redesign of Tifa from Final Fantasy VII. All of us know Tifa, extremely well-endowed anime character from the Final Fantasy VII game series, who had, for lack of a better word, very large breasts, has seen her breasts undergo a number of modifications throughout the years through different games and movies as her character design has changed to fit the technology of the times. Tetsuya Nomura has told Famitsu that they are going to be doing yet another remodeling of her chest through the Square Enix's ethics department, and that it was, quote, necessary to restrict her chest. As was said by Tetsuya Nomura, this has fed into further controversy about censorship and and Western ethics, etc. But it looks like the Square Enix ethics department is actually more about following age restrictions and a little bit less about morals. I'm not really sure how having a well-endowed character could make a game more than teen rated. However, we're going to have to see when the game comes out next year. Lastly, putting to rest finally the Maricar Nintendo lawsuit of intellectual property violations. Maricar has been ordered to pay Nintendo 50 million yen for damages, which is $466,000. That is pretty substantial, and this is a raise from the 10 million yen, which the Tokyo District Court had ordered Maricar to pay previously. So they probably should have been satisfied in the prior court and not have raised it to a higher level of court, because now they're paying perhaps an amount of money that they can't actually pay at $500,000. So that just goes to show you, don't violate intellectual property to make tons of money. This was Mitsuki, and this was your anime news break. Now, again, time to get back to the podcast.
After a tough day at work, I just want to veg out on the internet. I wonder what kind of weird hentai goods JList.com has on sale.
Kazuo, what are you looking at?
Oh, well, this is embarrassing. It was JList.com.
What was that? Go back to it.
Oh, that was an anime boob mouse pad.
Really? Has it come to that, Kazuo?
Hell no, man. I'm keeping it real. But JList keeps it real, too. Real perverted. They've got hyper-realistic boob mouse pads, sexy pillows, naughty calendars and anime figures, and an array of Tenga products.
Did somebody say Tenga?
Good God. Where'd you come from?
That's right, my bald, mid-30-something anime grumpy pants man.
Damn, I love Tenga.
Has it come to that, Mitz?
Hell no, Enzo. I just love to feel the embrace of a Tenga egg when I stretch it over...
Whoa. Okay, now.
Over my bald head?
I think that's even weirder.
Head over to JList.com and get yourself set up with some of the finest Japanese adult products.
Welcome back, and we had a question before we went on break.
Damn right we did.
The question that we asked was, in the anime Kono Ototomare, what instrument is the anime focused on? Is it the biwa, the shamisen, the koto, or the taiko drum? Mitz, what is it?
Zakoto.
The koto. That is currently airing this season. Sorry, when we came back, I was like trying to my coffee, and some of it may have gone up into my nose.
Oh.
I was like trying to. It was really weird. I like choked on it, but I'm okay.
That's what she said.
So yeah, we also have a 5-star review, a very long one.
Very long.
I had issues when I put this on here trying to clip it into our show notes, but I see you fixed it for me. Thank you.
I tried.
Yeah, it's a really long one, but it's great. Let's just jump into it.
It's time for iTunes review.
This review is from General Mills.
Who's on our Discord?
Yeah, a long-time lurker here. Sorry this review is going to be a bit long, but you guys deserve it. I have been a podcast junkie for many years and an anime fan for even longer. Have worked on a few crews for podcasts in the past and can safely say it is nowhere as near as effortless as the AAA crew lets on. The charisma and organization presented here is astounding compared to any of the dozens of anime-related podcasts I've listened to. The individual perspectives and opinions of the hosts are diverse, and they don't shy away from disagreements or arguments. The segments are well organized, and the community behind the podcast is thriving thanks to the encouragement of the team. The Discord is particularly well managed and allows the audience to really feel like they're part of the show. The quality and audience and confidence of the cast swells with each episode, and although nearly 500 episodes in the bank, they continue to look for ways to improve. I really appreciate the way the cast opens up to the audience beyond anime and their commitment to making the listener choice feel welcome. Something as simple as Mitz talking for a second about football or admitting he's skipping the Super Bowl to record an episode despite being a Patriots fan is just one example of the team's astounding dedication and willingness to open up to their audience. As well as a fellow Pats fan and reluctant weeaboo, you won me over with that bit of honesty. Whether you are a hardcore otaku, casual anime fan, or you just fap to hentai now and then, there's something here for everybody. Thanks for making my anime addiction worse, and keep up the good work, team. Wow.
Oh, that's such a long review, and thank you so much.
But it's so well thought out.
Yeah, it's
thank
so
you very
well.
much. And
Yeah, it's so great.
P.S. Tom Brady's the GOAT. What?
It does not actually say that. But thank you so much, General Mills. That person, he or she, I'm sorry, is on our Discord, so I've seen them around a lot. And yeah, thank you. Every time we get such a well-written review, a part of me is like, I don't know, surprised. I'm very thankful for everyone who, like, if all my dumb, all the stupid stuff that I say can somehow make your day go a little bit faster. That's fantastic. I'm so happy.
And if you want to leave a review, you can do it on iTunes.
Yes.
It takes like 5 seconds.
Please do, because I love reading them. I think we all do. So
of course.
Thank you so much.
All right, so we're gonna do a review today on Price of Smiles.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is a show.
It is a show.
What season was this?
I believe we are now covering shows from the
winter. Yes.
So the Price of Smiles is kind of a perplexing anime in a way, because I feel like it had potential, but they just I'm getting ahead of myself.
What is this show?
Who did this show?
There's two kingdoms in the show. The Kingdom of Soleil and the Empire of Grandiga. And
Grandiga. I like that name.
Pretty much right off the bat, the two countries start going to war together against each other. And meanwhile, a new princess has just ascended the throne in Soleil. She's like 10 or 12 or something.
12,
and
yeah.
super young. And I don't know. I think maybe the Empire of Grandiga sensed weakness in the other country because of that, and so they decided to attack. And the reason why I passed this show, as I recall, was because I actually thought the first 3 episodes were pretty good when I watched it before, and I think it was the only mecha show from the season that it was in. So it had some reasons to be passed. But had we been doing the retro thing now, I'm sure this probably would have been one of the ones that had dropped off. So it's done by Tatsunoko Productions. It's a really well-known studio. They did Ping Pong, Full Metal Panic, Fumafu. Tatsunoko has been definitely around the block a lot.
Fumofu was done Kyoto Animation. Tatsunoko just helped them, correct?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh yeah, I'm just
I
reading.
believe
reading.
I saw it on their list of stuff. That's all.
Like they help out with a lot of
right.
other things. I think they helped out with like Macross, some Wake Up Girls, Kashern Sins.
They were
I think
involved.
Yeah, but their main shows aren't a ton. But they've done like Ping Pong, C, The Money of Soul, and they did Psychopaths 2, which was all you need to know.
Right, because Neon Genesis Evangelion is also in their credits, and that's definitely a Gainax show.
Gainax, yeah.
So I think they do a lot of supporting work.
The director...
But Ping Pong is amazing. Please check it out.
Yes, we know. The director, Toshimasa Suzuki, hasn't really done a whole lot of other things to note upon. What did you guys think about this show? Like, before you started watching it, what did you think about it? Were you excited for it? Were you already thinking, oh, this is going to be terrible? Like, how did it go down for you?
I honestly had zero expectations. I did not know what I was getting into. The only thing that I did know was that not a lot of people watched it. When I went and looked at how many people scored it, it was only 6,000, which is pretty low. So I had no idea. I didn't know what to expect.
Mason?
Yeah, same here. When I found out we were doing the review on it this week, I just immediately went to the website and started watching it and had done as little research as possible beforehand. So no expectations going in.
I mean, I watched 25% of it before I started watching it for this review, so I mean, my impressions were already kind of set in stone, It was an action show that carried a little bit of emotion with it in the sort of military campaigns, and the mechas were cool, and they were having war, so that's what I expected, and I think I got what I expected for the most part. But like, how did you guys feel about this? Do you? It is a show about war between two countries. It does have a lot of CG in it, mostly on the mecha only. It is a little dry. It does lack story, but like, how did you both feel about it, and would you recommend this to anybody?
Mason, go first.
This show is like a potato smoothie.
Whoa!
What is a potato smoothie?
A potato smoothie is... So usually a smoothie is a mix of lots of different ingredients that come together harmoniously to make something delicious and nutritious. So they took this idol culture, right? Because people like idols. And they just boiled it down to a potato and made it super uninteresting. They threw that in there. And they're like, well, people like gaming, right? You guys are gamers? So they took like VR games. And they distilled that into the most basic potato possible, and they threw that in there. They're like, well, I mean, mechs. People love mechs. We can't not have mechs. So they distilled that into the most basic. But they just took all these different concepts within the anime medium, made them the most simplified version of themselves, and then just blended them all together. And it just is the most bland, unappetizing thing that I was forced to drink for 12 episodes. And it was awful.
I looked it up. People do drink potato smoothies. I didn't know people drank potato smoothies.
I didn't know that either. There's a scene where they make a lot of potatoes.
A cup of roasted sweet potato. You can put some cinnamon in there. I mean, I don't know. Potato smoothies actually sounding pretty good.
I would love some cinnamon in the show, but all I got was potato.
Just potato. Just mashed potato.
This was just baked
Wait, no,
potatoes.
not mashed potatoes, because those are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
A dry potato.
Yeah.
So
with ice stalks.
Since you obviously hate it, Mason, lovely Mason.
Yes.
Would you recommend the show to your worst enemy? Would you say?
I don't think I'm that devious. I would not recommend the show to anybody.
Wow. All right. Mandy?
The same. I could not recommend this to anyone, even if you are a mecha fan. I don't recommend this anime. You should not watch it. It's
Oh, come
So
on.
If you've seen 6,000 anime and are
You've seen
absolutely
this.
starved for content, even then I
Maybe,
wouldn't. Even then.
So yeah, the first couple episodes had moments where I was like, "Oh, that was a twist. That's kind of interesting." But still, at the same time, all the characters were so bland to me that I couldn't attach myself to any of them. So when things happen in the anime to those characters, I didn't care.
Actually, if you like the surprised Pikachu meme, if you're a big fan of that
there you go.
meme, constantly, at least 5 times per episode, characters make that face in shocked and surprise. So if you like the meme, you'll like the show. That's it. If you like no, don't watch it. End of story.
Why is it always the Empire that's like the evil thing in these shows? I feel like when two countries go to war in the show, there's always the name of the country that you're following and then the Empire. Always. Why is that?
Because we're not watching Legend of the Galactic Heroes. That's why.
Unfortunately. So yeah, this show tries to do the whole the price of war, but towards the end it really falls flat on its face. It starts up and sets up an idea that could be, I mean, honestly, is very generic.
Are we in spoilers now? Or
No, not.
Okay.
I'm not going to talk about the ending. I'm just saying it's not worth it. But it's a very generic that they're fighting over resources, but it doesn't go anywhere. And parts that it sets up to that, like the entire anime sets up, just they rush through. It drags its feet throughout the entire thing, and yeah, I don't know what else to say except that I don't recommend it. The ending is it's so bad.
I don't recommend it
I don't
either.
know what else to say.
I don't recommend it either. I think that there's better things to be watching. I think that if you're a mecha fan, you could go watch something like Escaflowne or Ava, which just got put on Netflix. You're going to be so much happier, because mecha is not a genre that is barren. There's plenty of shows. And if you just go give some of those a shot, you won't even need to worry about Priceless Miles, because it's I actually wrote down Majestic Prince. Like, Majestic Prince is another one of those shows that, like, it relies on its action. And if you want, like, mecha action, that's a great show to watch. The action in that show is badass as hell. Again, a little better than the action from this show, I would say. So, yeah, I also don't recommend it.
I know it's long, but I think you should just go watch Legend of the Galactic, honestly. Because this anime, like, got me to go watch that, because I was like, I need something good to wipe this from my mind.
Wow.
So, yeah, if you want like a really realistic, really well thought out approach to war, go watch Legend of the Galactic Heroes, because it's a lot better this.
All right, shall I play the spoiler drop?
Go for it.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
I think I'm entitled to them.
So, at the beginning, I actually was I was a little surprised that the main, or that the guy who's now named that I can't remember dies in episode 2, Joshua. I was actually surprised that he died. I wasn't expecting that. I thought this was... It did shift my expectations a little bit, because when I went in, I was expecting this to be like, oh, it's Yuki and Joshua. They're going to grow together throughout this entire anime. And then I was actually surprised that Joshua died at the end of episode 2. That was the moment that I was talking about in the first couple episodes. Like, oh, that's a twist. I was kind of surprised by that.
I mean, if we're talking about the good moments in the show, that was definitely one of them.
Yeah.
Mainly followed by, like, the scream that Yuki gives after, like, learning the news. Like, they did a really good, like, effects on it, and it was brutal, and it was really well done. And one of the few moments that was a shining example of storytelling.
Yeah. So at the very beginning, we learned that Yuki she's completely oblivious to everything, because she is just a 12-year-old. and she is the ruler of the what is the
Soleil.
Soleil. And so, but everyone else is lying to her. They are currently at war with Grandiga. I'm never gonna remember these names. I'm sorry.
I keep thinking Grandia, the game.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Grandiga. They're currently at war with them, but they're lying to Yuki and telling her that they have a non-aggression pact, and so we get the idea by their a discussion that they're having a conference about what is it like resources, that Grandiga doesn't have as much resources as Soleil, but they have more people, and so we kind of get an idea of why they're at war. But Yuki is just giving them land and stuff because she's completely oblivious to everything, and she thinks that they're allies. And so she's like, "Oh yeah, you can have all of this land." And that part was so confusing to me. I'm like, why are they? She's their ruler. Why are they lying to her? Like, I know she's only 12, but what? How does that benefit them at all?
Yeah, if you're gonna lie to your ruler, like at least don't be ruled by them. That seems like, I mean, I don't mind her as a character. Like, I get that she's 12, so she can be a little annoying, but that makes sense. And the whole like concept of her going from someone in power, but the monarchy is like just a symbol, and like how is she going to grow up into be a ruler? I was like, well, you have to start at the bottom, at a place from ignorance, and grow to like the character. Like, I was hoping that was the arc we were going to get. I figured that was going to be interesting, but it never moved in that direction.
It's not just a figurehead though, because she gives like military commands and stuff later, and then they take orders.
Yeah, well, it's weird. They listen to her in the middle of battle when she's nowhere near a military expert, but then when she calmly thinks about things and asks to do something as within the power she has, then they disobey her.
It makes no sense to me.
Isn't there some point in the show though where they said that she's like an excellent tactician?
No, she was like learning chess in like the first episode.
Yeah.
Like, she wasn't like a natural leader.
I thought they covered that early on, but I might be thinking about something different. The whole thing for me was that like the events of the show don't have any meat behind them. So like Grandiga and
all potatoes, baby.
Yeah, and it was all potatoes. Grandiga and Soleil, they're at war, but like the whole anime, I kept thinking, why are they at war? Like, there's not much behind it to really paint the picture for you. And then the characters themselves don't have a lot of development. So if any of them were to die, and there are character deaths in this anime, a few of them, you're kind of like, oh, people on the screen are crying, but I don't feel anything because I didn't get built up properly with the character. And so like all these war shows where you're worrying about, oh, I got to worry that my favorite character is going to die in this battle. Well, no, it's not JoJo. Like, you're not going to have people dying all the time.
Oh, my heart. You just broke my heart right now.
Yeah.
It's still stinging.
So, but, yeah, that's a big problem because it's like you almost don't care how the battle turns out because no matter who dies, you don't have any skin in the game. So it's a big issue.
Yeah. I think the point of the war, from what I got from it, is that Soleil has this energy called Chars. Is it Chars? It's spelled very strange.
It's like CHRAR. And it's short for something else, but they almost always refer to as Char.
Char. Yeah, so they have this energy source that they can also use to farm, and also powers up their mechs. And from what I understand, Grandiga wants that also. From what it sounded like is that their land, they don't have nearly as much as
they don't have as rich the resources.
Right, and then they have people than Soleil does. So they want to get a hold of this energy source. But and I mean, I don't know. I think if it just kept going in that direction, that would have been fine. But then they tried to, in like towards the end, come up with a completely different kingdom that they didn't even mention up to that point. Was it called like Viridian
Verde.
And they're like, oh, well, actually, there is a reason why we shouldn't be using this char stuff. And I was like, what? How are you gonna like introduce this like towards the end? And what I don't understand is, so Char, when they went and terraformed this planet that they're living on, they released nanobots that, you know, terraformed the planet, and somehow that's created the Char energy, and now when they're using the Chars, it's destroying the little nanobots, and now eventually it's going to cause a lot of climate problems. And
it's at episode like 10 that they introduce this like robotic environmentalism.
Yeah, it's
like a little late.
Almost over.
But just as quickly as they introduce it, it doesn't matter anymore.
It doesn't matter.
because at the end of the show, Yuki's like they have this big device at the end where they're going like so Verde
just clip that soundbite and just that's the review.
Verde hasn't existed for a while, right? Like it's been gone for like a couple decades.
Right, Grand Digga got a hold of their reports on this.
Correct. And Soleil gets a hold of it too through a chain of events. And you know, and they need a way to end the war because that's all that Yuki cares about. I don't want anybody to die. Everyone has to smile. Like, you don't tell me what to do, bitch. I'm not gonna smile. If I don't want to smile, I goddamn won't. So, take your little smiley little wand and stuff it. That's right. I said it. And it's
got
like,
him.
But it's like at the end of the
12-year-old.
I gotta war the end. I gotta end the war so that everybody can enjoy my 12-year-old girl smile, and then everybody else will smile. And so what happens is they go to this tower that can very conveniently shut off all of the mechs because Yuki wants that, because that'll end the war, and no one will have to fight anymore ever about anything. Everyone's gonna kids are gonna share their toys. Parents are going to get friggin' drunk, and they're never going to be belligerent. Everything results in, like, I'm going to moon you because I'm a fun, drunk experience. And it just so happens that Verde has this fucking technology, which is so Deus Ex Machina. And and then they turn them on, but then I'm thinking, great, turn off the mechs. Do it. I dare you. Grand Digga is just going to pull their fucking handguns out and start shooting you. Like, just because you don't have a mech anymore doesn't mean that the war is going to end. Because guess what? We have horses and guns and all kinds of shit. So
remember,
changes nothing.
Destroying the use of char doesn't just like shut down the mechs. It shuts down like the civilization because everything runs off of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So her philosophy is, if everybody is suffering in this collapse of society and technology, they'll be suffering so much that they won't have time to make each other suffer.
Yeah.
So as long as the suffering isn't for other people.
Oh my god.
It doesn't make any sense to me because it started with a war for resources. And they're like, well, if we shut off the chars, this is just going to turn... I'm like, we're already there! I don't understand!
Yeah.
Yeah, I also don't understand. I'm assuming that in the past with Verde, we get backstory on that whole situation, that they discovered that the shards were actually destroying the environment, and if we continue to use them, eventually the entire world it's not going to be hospitable. Like, no one's going to be able to live here. And so I'm assuming Soleil went, you know what, we don't care, we're going to use them anyways, because we have this technology that's letting us makes us very rich, and it's a clean resource that we can utilize. We don't care if it's destroying the environment. But I don't understand is that the people in rule now, like in leadership now, are not the same. So why was this information locked away forever? And why didn't they all come together and be like, look, guys, this is destroying the environment. We need to come up with some other option.
I'll tell you one thing.
I don't understand.
Global warming ain't real.
No, it's not real, apparently.
It ain't real. Okay. I thought the animation in this was...
Shut up, alert.
I want to make two quick comments on the plot before we move to the animation, because I feel like we're going to be on that for a while. it's not like the plot like doesn't make sense. Like logically, you can connect the dots and be like, "Oh, I can see what they were trying to do." But
Right.
the way that they tell that story isn't that it's convoluted. It's just so devoid of like rich content or anything that would make you care that it's like I know why they're going to turn off the machine and what the machine does, but I don't care. Like there's such a lack of like depth to anything, and it's so shallow. But anyway, so
Something else that I really want to mention that was a massive issue was so it splits focus between Yuki and Stella. Stella is part of Grandiga. She's part of the team. Like she has like her own team, and like
it's like a squadron it's like a patrol squadron.
Right. But we also see in flashbacks that when she was a child, that one of the people in Solio, who is Yuki's advisor, she is actually Stella's mom. And
How
Stella
convenient.
Right. So the entire anime up until episode, I think it was the very final episode, we're like, oh, eventually Stella's going to be able to see her mom. And, you know, they're both hurting from this event that Stella was adopted into a family that didn't love her, and her mom, you know, thinks that her child is dead, and that has really, like, you know, that has just destroyed so much of her life, and she sees Yuki as a child now. But when they come together, it's so anticlimactic. She, like, her mom gets hit by a falling pillar and is dying, and Stella never even learns that it was her mom. She's like, because her mom pushes her out of the way of the falling pillar and takes the hit, and then she dies before she's even able to tell her that she's her mom. And I'm like, we've been waiting for this moment the entire anime. That was so anticlimactic.
We've been waiting since we learned about it like 10 minutes ago. Not the whole.
Was
like,
it? I thought it was like
we've
at
been
least
waiting
episode 5.
That they finally revealed it. I don't know. It didn't seem like it was that long.
It was
ago.
obvious that she was her child because she has the same like aquarium ball that she carries around, and she looks exactly the same. So, and I don't know.
Essentially, the only thing I
thought it was obvious
about the plot is just really quick note. So, on my main screen right now, some Inside Baseball. I've got the show notes on one side, so I can see what we're going to talk about. On the right side, I usually have like Discord or something else up, just to mess around with. I pulled up the Wikipedia page for the show to try to give me like a rundown of like the plot synopsis of each episode to help remind me like what I just witnessed. And I tell you this because someone felt compelled enough by this show to go into Wikipedia, go through that entire entry process, and submit plot summaries for the episodes.
Oh, really?
Up until the 4th episode, at which point even the person passionate enough to be editing an online encyclopedia gave up and just stopped and like put in a little blurb for the last 2 episodes and left. Like that's a true testament to the people who are like committed to like cataloging and preserving it. Just gave up halfway through.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, and it doesn't give you any time to let things weigh on you. For example, when Joshua died, the next episode it jumps to Stella. We don't even get to see Yuki's like her ability. Like we don't get to see her deal with the fallout of Joshua dying.
No, it immediately jumps to like the other Grandiga camp, which is a good concept. You know, show both sides of the war. But the most exciting thing just happened in Soleil. Right. Why are you taking us away for an entire episode?
Yeah, right. Yeah, like I like seeing both sides. Like I said earlier, I jumped into Legend of the Galactic Heroes because of this, because it does the same thing. It's a very realistic approach to war, and it shows both sides. And that's kind of what they're trying to go for here, but it's not executed well at all. I don't know what else to say.
I just want to go off on the art.
Go for it.
This is easily the worst looking show I have possibly ever seen.
Possibly ever?
Ever.
Yeah, I didn't think. I don't know about the art, but I didn't think the animation was that terrible.
So there's a start like there's all these battle scenes where it's like it's panning across a desert. It's a flat, like stiff environment, and there's these like mechs in the ground that are in like 240p. They're like super blurry and pixelated and just resized. There's no sense of scope. And then right after that, it like shows a character who's in like 720p, who's like completely stiff on screen, and he's moving his head, but his like neck doesn't shift with it. Then it jumps immediately to a 1080p shot of like a mech that's like lurching around, and there's no weight or gravity to anything. It's just like a cavalcade of like inconsistent aesthetics.
Whoa,
And they have all these like
word.
bright like neon lines that like pattern everything, and all these buildings are just gray like warehouses, and there's no sense of town or city. Like I never know where I'm at and what's going on, and it's so just poorly done. Every single episode had a couple shots where I was literally laughing out loud because it looked so warbly and
Warbly,
awful
I like that word.
I was chuckling that this was done.
Well,
and that it exists.
I thought that some of the battles looked nice. I thought some of the dogfights with the mechs were pretty nice. I mean,
there was one on the water that had some cool effects with it, but the mechs just felt like they were like made out of plastic. Like there was no impact. There was no gravity to anything.
Well, that's because the characters don't have any background, so you don't really give a shit.
Nothing about this looked good at any point in time, in my opinion.
How'd you feel about it, Mandy?
I thought it looked very mediocre. I don't know about the worst anime I've ever seen, but it didn't look pretty to me.
Look at the character designs. Look at their outfits. Look how
very
overdone they are. Look at their hair. That is just poor decision after poor decision. It's just someone just said, "Oh, let's add one more." Not even like a Final Fantasy, like, "Oh, we're gonna put 70,000 belt buckles on their calves." No, it was just too much of everything and too little content. Oh my! I guess the sunflowers look nice. I guess they looked fine. The flowers.
I didn't think it looked that bad.
On its own,
it did look good.
Each individual thing wasn't the worst. It was, but like pushed together. Like there were scenes where they were like, episode 7 was a whole party episode where they just peel potatoes the whole episode and talk about potatoes, and that's why I talked about it earlier. She's using this knife to peel potatoes with the non-sharp side. And I don't know if they're just trying to say like, "Oh, she's really bad at knives." LOL.
Common sense.
But then it shows that she's like might have grown up in a rich like proper household. So yeah, she clearly knows how to use a knife. So that's just the animators don't know how to use a knife. Like there was so many moments.
I don't know if it was low budget or if it was just extremely rushed or maybe both. But I also thought it was weird that Princess Yuki, like everyone else I can understand, they are soldiers and they're in their uniform. Yuki is this very rich princess, and she doesn't change her wardrobe once the entire anime.
Not once.
She wears the exact same outfit from start to finish.
But
that was very strange to me.
Even episode 1, there's like all these shots of like the same event occurring, and they just give us multiple shots. Like when she spins around at the beginning or trips, and they're like, "Oh, let's give her 3 different angles of her tripping." And then the character says the line, "It was a questionable start, but recovered well." And I was just like, yeah, I wish the show did that. I wish it recovered, but no, it falls flat. I'm trying to be very reserved with how much of a chore this was to sit through, because it was not good. It was ugly. It was trite. The music was so unforgettable.
Yeah,
and by that I mean forgettable. I don't know what
I finished watching this today, and I still can't remember any. I can't remember any of the music.
I watched it on Wednesday, and immediately afterwards, like, I'm gonna binge all of Legends of Galactic Heroes. Wipe that from my mind.
We talked about Bloom Into You last week, and that had music in it, and it wasn't memorable. Like there was no motifs or anything, but it fit the tone of the show. Is light, and it was there. Like it wasn't obtrusive. This music, literally, I didn't even know it existed because it was so.
I don't remember any. I do remember some from Bloom Into You. I thought that was pretty.
Yeah, it was pretty, but this was just. It was there. Like I heard sounds, but just like the rest of the show, it just. went right through me. Nothing stuck. The only good moment, a lie, was when there's this mystery of the commander of the Grandiga troop, where there's some allusion to him having like lots of mouths to feed or lots of baby birds, and they're like, oh, what could it mean? And some characters like, I bet he's got a lot of stamina. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And I'm like, heh, jokes. That was one, and then it didn't happen again. And that almost was funny.
I love it. It sounds like Mason's about to give it a 5.
Yeah, I don't have much else to say about it. It's just a basic war show. It's not well put together at all. You know, there's a lot of available substitutes that are better. So I think that the animation was average. I do like watching the mechs sort of blow each other's like mecha limbs off and shit. The music was almost non-existent. The characters didn't get enough background, and the directing was terrible. They spent so much time on these battles that there was no time for anything else. It virtually ended with Yuki pushing the button that shut off all the mechs, and then the credits rolled, and I was like, that's it.
And then after the credits, they're all happy and they're all best friends now.
Yeah, they're all best friends, and it's like, yeah, okay.
Sense.
Except that
Grandiga and Solio are working together now. You know, screw all the people who just died in this war. It makes no sense.
And you're screwed anyway, Yuki, because if you push that button and all the mechs are gone, then it becomes a fight on the ground with people with like guns and shit. And your army was massively outnumbered in terms of population. That was the whole point. So she's like, we invented this powerful new artillery. And then that was, supposedly going to give them a strategic advantage. And then the one device they had that they gave them an edge, she got rid of. So this anime doesn't make much sense to me at all. I'm going to give it a 2.
Wow.
Times that Yuki was annoying, saying something like, I want everybody to smile. Out of 5.
I know she was in South Park.
Cartman was in this? What?
Come on, guys.
Yeah, same. I don't know what else I could say that hasn't already been said. I despised Yuki as a character. Like Mason said earlier, it would have been good if it was a growth of I'm a very naive child into I need to quickly become an adult and figure out how to save my kingdom. But every chance she gets, she tries to give up. And all these people are dying for her and for their country. And she's just wanting to give herself in. Constantly. There's zero growth in the entire thing. That's the only other thing that I can think of that hasn't been said. I hate being so negative. I always try to find I try to stay positive most of the time, but this honestly was, I think since I've started this podcast, the worst anime that we've reviewed. And I'm going to give it, I'm bouncing between a 1 and a 1.5. I'll give it a 1. I don't know. 1. I'm trying to think of something funny. I can't think of anything that was funny in this. 1 potato. 1 potato out of 5.
There we go.
1 poorly carved up potato. That's all I got. Let's hear my song.
I've been trying to hold back how hideous this review is. I really want people, if you're one of the 3 people who watched the show, and the one who liked it, please send me a screenshot of any moment that looked good. But this was abysmal on every level. Plot, characters, animation. I mean, it's no surprise. I'm giving this a 5 out. Sorry, I read this wrong.
He's giving it a 5. You heard it.
I'm giving it a 0.5. Surprise Pikachus out of 5. This is the lowest of the low.
I don't believe we go to 0.5.
We don't?
I don't think that's ever happened.
I think it's happened twice before. But let me double check. I want to see if it's within regulations. I need to
default to 1.
I need, I guess it's 1 otherwise, but this show doesn't deserve it. I think the more anime you see more of the greats, the more 5 out of 5s pushes scores down, and the more of the worst kind of pushes scores up. Is this the worst anime I've ever seen in my life? Objectively, no. But it's the worst 12 episode one I've ever witnessed.
I know for sure Amnesia got a 0.5.
I feel like Super Lover's got one as well.
Maybe. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
We know
I'm
your
not a host
feelings.
anyway. Give it a 0.1. Give it a whatever you need to.
A -1.
You'll be surprised to see that social media gave us a 3.
But I think only 3 people voted.
Yeah, I don't think it was very many. But
Icy said that almost nobody watched it. He only got 3 entire thing. And out of those, 1 person enjoyed it because it gave them Gundam vibes, but the other 2 were not fans of it.
All right, so shall we do some mailbags?
Let's do it.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime.
Mailbag.
Getting better at that dance.
You did the dance?
I did less of an awkward shuffle and more of a or the wiggle. That's what it was.
So yeah, you can leave us a mailbag question by going to aapodcast.com and clicking the mailbag button, and we will answer them on our podcast. And this one is from Yotoru Vegeta. Peer pressure. AAA crew, as younglings, have you ever pretended to like a show that you hated or hated a show you actually liked, all because of majority opinion? Have you ever said that you watched a show when in fact you hadn't seen a single episode? Thanks. I don't know. What about you guys? I can't think of anything. Usually, I don't care what other people think.
Yeah, I'm not really into the concept of like guilty pleasures. Like if I like a show, I like it and don't like shy away from it. And I definitely would never claim to watch a show that I haven't.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess if we're talking about guilty pleasures, I'm like, there are shows that I like, but I know that they're bad, but for some reason there's something that is hilarious. And,
like Aho Girl.
Like Aho Girl? Look, we had so much fun watching that.
That was like in a group watch setting, so that helped lend a sense of enjoyment to it beyond what that would have been watching it alone.
Or, like, I watched Utapuri with a bunch of the other, like, Otome fans in our Discord, and it's so funny, and we know it's so stupid, but we love talking about it together. So, but that's not something that I would ever lie about to anyone. I'd be like, yeah, that show's dumb. I love it. But I don't know. There's nothing else I can think of. I will say that there are shows that I have seen. I'll be like, I've seen that show, but it was many, many, many years ago, and I don't remember anything of it. I can barely remember any of Cardcaptors.
But
I know.
If there is an example of something that I have seen that I said I didn't see it, I mean, it must have happened so long ago that I don't really remember, to be honest. Nowadays, I definitely wouldn't lie, I don't think, about anything. Yeah.
I mean, that's not to say we don't, like, form opinions before watching shows. Like, I still haven't seen, like, Danmachi, but, like, I've seen enough, like, of the images and gifs behind it to know, like, it's probably not my thing, and I kind of have an opinion on it, but definitely nothing that I would say, oh, I've seen it. Yeah, it's not good.
All right, next mailbag is from Solid Snake for Prez. I love listening to your voices, but I have no idea what you look like. Well, watch live. What anime characters would you say your co-hosts most look like? Keep up the great work.
You are obvious. You're definitely a Saitama.
Yeah. I'm bald.
You got the bod. You got the bald. You're set to go.
Yeah.
I don't know what I look like. I don't think I look like any anime character.
That's what I was going to say. I don't really look like... Go ahead.
For some reason, Mandy, when I thought of you, I thought of Lil from Enzer from Ergo Proxy.
Oh, yeah?
Isn't that her name, Lil?
Is it because... Wait, what is that? I'm sorry.
The girl's name from Ergo Proxy. I can't remember her name exactly. I thought it was Lil, but it's...
Yeah, no, you're right. The main character?
Yeah.
She was
red-
pretty short too, wasn't she?
Yeah, little.
I think
She's little.
She's little. Yeah, I had to look up a picture to kind of compare. I don't know. I don't wear eyeshadow quite that ridiculous though.
It's difficult. Like we're not really meant to look like anime characters, you know.
Mm.
That's why I was trying to think of like shows, at least for me, who have like the strong like Western look, either like Monster or like I was thinking like a lot of like the background like soldiers in Attack on Titan. They're kind of just like non-anime looking, bland white dudes with brown hair. I was like, I'm kind of weird looking. I'm like anyone in Kaiji.
Yeah, anime character with really long brown hair. That might be me.
Yeah, watch
right.
live and you'll get your answer.
Yeah, we're gonna be moving to Twitch soon, I think. So
yes.
So you just watch us live, and you'll see what we all look like because we're all gonna be on camera. So
Got that face for radio, baby.
All right, man, you take us out of here.
Alrighty, so thank you so much for everyone who is listening. Seriously, we really appreciate it and hope that we made your days go a little bit faster. And again, you can check us out on aapodcast.com/join. You can join up and get so much more extra content. Hentai, hobby addicts, and after parties. And right now we are about to do a hentai episode. So you can sign up and check that out and listen to it and laugh with us. You can also go to iTunes and subscribe to us to help us be #1. And again, you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and please join our Discord because we have a lot of fun stuff going on. And thank you so much for joining us. I know Mason does not have a social because he does not fall into the Twitter trap.
No.
That's a hard thing to say. But you can check me out on AAA_Mandy with an I on Twitter. Mitsuki, what was your Twitter again?
Pope Mitsugi.
Check us out. Come hang out with us. Talk with us.
And
we'll see you all.
Our impressions next week.
Yes.
Yes.
Selection.
Next week.
Get excited, folks. Get excited.
Yep. Next week we'll be going into impressions. I'm sorry, not impressions. We're going into selections for what we will be watching. 4 impressions, and you can hear me talk about Vinland Saga.
I'm excited for the I'm excited for this Faye /Goku hentai fanfic we're about to read.
This is going to be a fun time.
A fan submitted us a fanfic. Should be a really fun time. So if you subscribe, you can hear it as well. And thank you so much for everyone. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Don't forget to smile.
Bye, guys.
Almost 2 hours.